got it down. And then we are going to start with elemental reads. We are going to start here with earth, air, fire, water. We're going to go right around in round robin here. All right. All right, here we go. We're going to start in with elementals here. We're going to start with earth. All right, now this was interesting because they just said something about snow. And let's see here what they're bringing in. All right, so some of you may still be dealing with snow, but that's not the way it goes. They're talking about more along the lines of the way it looks, and they're putting out specific snowflakes in my left eye. So they're talking about snowflakes right now. Let's dive in a little bit deeper. We're going to get dialed in here. They're talking about snowflakes and how each one is obviously unique in its own pathway, unique in its own way, right? So I understand what they're talking about because so many of you on a collective level are in a place and in a space where you're seeing all these changes, and you're probably getting all these readings about all these different changes, and all these huge changes are coming, right? And so new doorways, new pathways, closing out these cycles, all these rebirthings, all these new mindsets and new ways, right? So there's all this new is coming to play. And so it was interesting. I wrote a little message here now down that they're asking me to say here for the earth energies, and we're going to ground it in, and we'll go round robin. We'll talk about all this, and we'll ground it down to each and every one of you. So you understand that each and every one of you have a part in the art of the circle of life, and each one of you have stars that are channeled in these areas of the zodiac signs. And so pay attention, because certain things will overlap to other signs or other variances. Here, personally, I would be paying attention to your rising and your north node more than sun or moon, to be honest with you, is the way things are going, because the north node is more about your destiny and what you're pursuing, okay? So new things are here. You paid 20 to life to get things right. Now you can sleep tucked in at night, not worried about the sword coming to your door, and the word was deliverance. I'm going to say that one more time. New things are here. You paid 20 to life to get things right. Now you can sleep tucked in at night, not worried about the sword coming to your door, deliverance. And so what they are giving me pretenses to is when we're going back to the snow, the way that it's going to go for each and every one of you in your own personal experience is going to be different. But of course, the way that it shows on a collective scale is all about the new. So everyone in every one of these signs, as I've been studying all these, it's new all over the board for each and every one of you. So the snowflakes, particularly to the earth signs, whatever this is, it's new, fresh snow, and it's very unique. Whatever this is that this pathway is moving you into is what they're giving me. So they're telling me right now that you really watch certain words that you speak, okay? And they're like, you feel like you're being watched too, but it's more conclave. Okay, more concave to being surrounded by a lot of love and a lot of light and a lot of vibration, and you feel very protected, like this very protective bubble is around you right now. And so earth, the way that things are grounding down. So you're showing me right now that there might have been a decision, and it doesn't matter what decision this is. This could be a decision to do something differently. This could be a decision to move. This could be a decision to finally go ahead and pursue something that you want to pursue. So with this energy, what that means is that there's been a change in the mind. There's a choice. So you've made this choice, or you're about to make this choice. And it's not something that I want to put that energy behind it where it's like, oh, you've got this big choice to make. Every choice and every decision you make is big, no matter how big it looks to you or how small. What's up, Ghost? How you doing, bro? I saw you in meditation last night, so I hope you're doing all right, man. So, long story short, it's like it doesn't matter how big or how small that choice is to you, the way that you see that choice is big on the ripple scale of what you do. When it comes to vibration, frequency, and all of that you're around. So, when you make a choice to do something, that is the vibration of action. When you start and take action with whatever that choice or decision is, no matter how big or small it has a ripple effect. Now what you guys are seeing is the choices and the actions that you have had from the past in a good way. Okay, we're talking about the vibrations of the last 6 months, okay, to last year. So the past 6 months to last year, we're going from like October to about present tense, and then further back from October. There's the evidence, is what they're saying to me right now. And so, long story short, what we're talking about here is, yes, you can ask me anything. Reach out to me through email and through my chat system on my website, okay? Right now, I got to stay focused in and grounded. But yes, I'm open to helping or answering anything I can. So, long story short, what you're doing now is you're seeing things split apart. So what you're seeing split apart is the ripple effect of the seams of what's going on. Okay, so past choices that you've made, these are not negative things. You have to understand that. But where is most of the time people are going to go first? They're going to go to the fear. They're going to go to the scary shit. Why? Because they're pre-programmed too. This is not scary shit. This is beautiful shit. This is stuff that you're opening up to. And now there's a new energy behind you being able to see the ripple effects of choices that you've had in the past that are now coming in for you. And that's one of the reasons that they gave me the message here about new things are here. You paid 20 to life to get things right. Now you can sleep tucked in at night, not worried about the sword that comes to your door, deliverance and more. You have to remember the game that was always played. The game that was always played is the mind. The mind is the game. The mind is the matrix. It's a patriarchal system of everything. And we call our imagination. But when you sit in the vibration of the imagination, you understand that's your soul. That's your soul. If you take a moment right now, Earth signs, and you close your eyes and you see your future, that's your soul seeing your future. You can also see your past simultaneously at the same time. That is your soul. You want to hear your soul? To thyself be true and know thyself. Close your eyes. Take 3 deep breaths. Do not say it out loud, but say to yourself, know thyself. Do it. Guaranteed you felt that vibration in your soul. Now the next question I have for you as a master as I am, who said that? You didn't say it with your mouth. You didn't hear it with your ear. We were taught to be led by sight. Sight is intuition. Sight is here. Sight is vibration. And now you are coming into the understandings, rainbow. Now you're coming into the understandings of the ripple effects, okay, of how your mind has deceived you, how other things outside of you have perceived you, how you have been able to go back and forth through what people call timelines, okay, which is just you breaking through the limitation of that mind or of that barrier, and then you come to a new timeline, energy shift, okay, timeline, energy shift, it's the same thing. And the reason that you have the energy shift or the timeline shift, earth signs, is because of the fact is that you're on a new frequency because you've changed your perception. You've changed the way you think about something. You've changed the way that you see something. You've changed the way that you feel about something. So then you've changed the frequency. You've changed the pattern of behavior. Causes another ripple effect, which means then you have changed the timeline in which you used to be in that you no longer vibe at because you've changed the mindset. Okay? And so earth signs, the things that are coming to you are because of the ripple effects of the past behaviors, the past decisions that you have done. This is for fun. This is not negative. This is not, karma and doomsday and prana. You've done that work. Now, this is important for the collective to know here, because we'll talk about this on a collective level. That's what they're asking me to do. Think about it like this. Anybody that was hearing this frequency, in a sense, that was on a conscious collective level, we were all in this line, okay? Is how they've showed this to me over the last 2 days. When we had the planetary parade come in, we had the eclipse come in, there was this axis that was made like a Y, okay? And some of you remember this from a live and from a message that I did, I don't know, it's maybe like 3 or 4 lives ago. What they showed me was literally, it didn't matter, there was an axis that came in, okay? Some people chose to stay on the straight line. Some people chose to jump here, okay, to move out of certain timelines. Other people chose to jump this way, out of certain timelines. Now, these people are going to go back and sidestep this way. Now, the people that stayed here, call it whatever you want to call it, okay? It doesn't matter. You can say, that pathway, okay, is the pathway where things are going to crumble and fall and not be necessarily happy at all. This pathway leads there and comes back here to here. And this pathway leads here and comes back here to here. So on a quantum level, I want you to understand that you have probably done about 2 or 3 shifts in the last fucking 3 days. Mercury went direct. All of this shadow phase is coming out. You have probably done 2 or 3 shifts in the last 3 days and didn't even know that you did it. Okay? The reason that they're moving us from that time frame is because you don't belong there. You don't belong in that time frame. Why? Because you elevated your frequency to not think a certain way, to stop a pattern of behavior, to not look at things the same way, okay? All of that. That deconstructs the paradigm in which you were just at. You understand that? So when you move and then others move with you on a collective level, okay? You break that paradigm. That paradigm no longer lasts, meaning it's no longer in your vibration of being able to attach to or see. Now, this is where the tricky shit comes in, earth signs. You might have a thought, you might have a person, you might have a worry, you might have an anxiety, you might have a fret about a bill, you might have a this, you might have a that. Okay? That's that old paradigm, seeing if you're going to take the bait, as my partner loves to say. You've got to go with what you feel right now. This is why we say to know thyself to be true. Because when you know yourself, you know the divine, you know who's speaking to you, and you know what paradigm you're in. Many of you have been seeing what we call glitches, right? I got to a place yesterday where there were no birds that I could see, hear, smell, or anything for over an hour. This place is always crawling with birds. None. And I was like, oh, cool. We sidestepped. So we sidestepped to shift, to cause a shift in another area. You were constantly causing those shifts based upon your pretenses. Now, earth signs, where we're going in is this is why you're being called the nature. Ground, ground, ground. Gaia's already where she needs to be. Okay? For the elevated frequencies to be able to be accepted by those who meet circumstances and criteria. And nobody here in this room is not meeting the circumstances or criteria. Let me just say that because I don't want to negotiate any fear. In that way, what you're seeing is you are seeing yourself come back to the divine. The closest thing that you have to the divine is yourself, nature, and the sun at this time. So this is why you're coming back in to more of the nature aspects and you're grounding these energies in. The things you want to do. The ripple effects that you've caused are bringing the things in that you want to bring in faster to you, earth signs. So the more you just stay in the flow and feel into what way to go, the more you're going to be shown in relevance that you've made the right decision. It's all about feeling. Remember, we can't lead by sight right here, right now, and we can't lead by what we're seeing here, because what we're seeing here is a continuous layer of shifting upon false paradigms that are crumbling layer by layer, moment by moment. And so you cannot go with what you see. You cannot go with what you hear. It is for those that have the eyes to see and the ears to hear. And so therefore that time is near. And you know that time is near based upon certain frequencies, certain parameters, certain feelings that you have. Go with your feeling. Your feeling is your soul and it will never mislead you. Your soul is worth more than the weight of gold, okay? And it will never deceive you. But this will and this will. And when you sit there and you say to yourself, know thyself, and you do not speak it out loud, and you close your eyes and you take a breath, I want you to ask yourself, who said that and who heard that? But yet then, who was the observer of the art of hearing that and feeling that and seeing that, if you want to take it one step further? Okay? So, earth signs, remember that the way that something seems in the physical paradigm level is not always the way that it is. You have to go with this gut and this level. So, everything is new. So this is why it's the whole rebirth of the collective, right? We've never had Neptune in Aries here and lived to be around and see it, right? Not anybody here right now, okay, by any means, in a physical form. In that way, you are seeing everything change. This is very dreamy, this is very spiritual, and it is all connecting you back to the divine. You are online, like they have said time and time again. Bodies in alignment, no longer on consignment, okay? Which means you are in alignment now with placement and destiny and purposes for your own individual experience. Everything here was for you to experience. You came here and chose to be here during this experience. Not only do you get to experience it, but you remember coming back home to the one that gave to you. And you are giving back now to the one that gave to you. The divine. That's where you come back to online. The gifts, the this, the that, all of that. And if you don't have the foundation of what you are cultivating, you are going to get left behind, because you're not going to have the understanding of not being in fear, not being in worry, not being in doubt, not being in this, okay? People go to religion because they fear, because they doubt, because they have anxiety. Religion was built for that pretense. What you're coming back into is the Paul Nader, okay? The Paul Nader of the divine, the Father divine, the God divine. It is always in you. It's always been in you. That's why you have the masculine and feminine energies of both sides. So all of these things where two become one, the one become the sum. And so what that means here for you earth signs is you have finally merged. What that means here is that the physical human body now, okay, has merged with the soul, all right, to merge with the higher self. So this is the mind, body, and soul, and freeing the spirit, right? So what you're doing is you freed the spirit. So this is why you're getting a lot of the generational this, the generational that. You broke this, you broke that, da 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 da. Now you get to sit and observe the timelines that you are no longer in, and that you get to move to these new things to begin. Now, how these things show up to you, I don't know. You know, they're on a very individual, small scale in a matter of speaking of things, because this is the contract that you wrote, right? This is no joke. This is now where things all shift in alignment for you. You're in alignment, and now they're shifting in alignment for you to receive it. So, as we always say, if one door closes, another one opens, right? These shifts come back around the way. The opportunities. Don't let anybody make you feel like you've missed a jump or you've missed an opportunity. That's not real. That's not of the divine. The opportunities and the cycles always come back until you break that cycle, until you break that thing, until you walk through that opportunity. The opportunity is going to show itself differently. It's going to be a different set of people. It's going to be from a different place. It's going to be from a different whatever. But the energy is going to be the same behind it, right? That's what they're talking about here. Okay, Earth, here we go. We're moving on to air. All right. So immediately when we go to Libra energy and Gemini energy, all right, most of the time when we come here and we do these elemental reads, we're really trying to pay attention to the North Node here, all right, and the rising signs. So just know that. Now everybody's worried. I don't know why everybody's worried about unionship and relationship and stuff like that. And maybe it has to do with this Venus, coming out of retrograde on the 12th, and these last little bit of squeezes about, relationships and unionships and stuff like that. So we're going to get down with this. All right? This is where they're bringing me to. Air signs. So we're going to cultivate through this. So they just said heal thyself. So a lot of you have been healing thyself, right? Right? Okay. A lot of you were not going to be able to handle at those moments and times that you wanted things from the divine. We're doing air signs for everybody that needs to know. A lot of you weren't going to be able to handle what the divine had lined up for you, where you were at 3 months ago, 2 months ago, a month ago, okay? The reason I say that is because being in a divine unionship is something completely different than being in a soul friendship or a soulmate space, okay? It comes with authenticity, it comes with understanding, it comes with grace, it comes with respect, it comes with all of that. And a lot of you have had to work through, it's not about how you communicate all the time, it's about how you listen. And it's about how you move through those things, where you cultivate those things. A lot of you weren't ready for that, okay? Because what the divine has for you online is just not another soulmate, just not another situationship, okay? This is a relationship. And in order to have a relationship, you have to be able to relate. Okay, now for a lot of you guys, you may not know, but I am restarting a podcast here. So if you want to link up to it, it's going to be up in YouTube. There are some old podcasts that I have of me and my partner in crime up there, and we talk about everything spiritual going through that. But we're going to start it again. It's going to start on Thursday nights, so get ready. And it's all things funny, all things deepening and spiritual, but it's really about unionship and relationship and what it means and the authenticity, right? And so I want you to understand and know that where you were being prepared is not where you were going to go. So let me say that at that moment in time when you thought you were being prepared for a relationship and you thought it was right around the point in time that it was going to happen, you weren't ready for that because there was some other type of alternate distraction, is what they're saying to me. Now you've come back in alignment and you're open and ready to receive. So what this means is this: when you get to a place to receive that relationship, okay, it's work, it's commitment, it is in different ways, realizing the different ways that you actually connect to the divine through another being. And it's so many different pieces and parts, and we'll get into all of that on the show that's going to start. And it's called Liquid Sunshine for Your Soul, okay? Is literally what the podcast is called, Liquid Sunshine for Your Soul. And you can go look it up. It's there on YouTube. Long story short, you weren't ready for being able to connect to the other in a way that you could see one another within one another. There were still limitations. There were still judgments. There were still comparisons, okay? And there is no place for that in any type of union. It is completely different. And most of you talk about the twin flame journey, and you on the twin flame journey is within yourself. It's the masculine and feminine energy within yourself for you to be able to rise to this point, for you to have that divine unionship. We talked about this a lot with the Great Mind crossover and the eclipses last year. That was the rise of the feminine. The feminine had to fully come out of the masculine, step into the feminine, take over that role so that she would be equipped with everything that she needed to handle that relationship. Because you are going to balance each other out. You are going to rise each other out. But only if you come correct with the understanding, and overstanding of what you're getting yourself into in representation. You have 3D moments. You have human shit. It always happens. But if you can't see the vibration of what's going on the deeper spiritual level, you won't be able to connect to it. Okay? So, long story short, I want you to listen to yourself when you're starting to do these things. This is also where you'll lift into temptation, the divine will always send the counterfeit before the real thing. The divine will always send the counterfeit before the real thing, air signs. So I want you to remember that. The divine will always, okay, always, always, always send a counterfeit before the real thing, because it's the art of temptation to see if you're going to take it and jump. The only way that you're going to know through confirmation is by action. Action will tell you everything. Energy will tell you everything. Energy is going to tell you that they're saying this, but they mean something else, and you're going to have to dig deeper into that to help bring that up and out. It's a responsibility. Right? So you both have a responsibility, not only to yourselves, but to each other. And for whatever reason, air signs, this last Mercury retrograde was very important for you to be able to work through whatever, see through whatever, feel through whatever, so that you could be ready for this relationship. Okay? Because you are relating to a divine union. Now, for some of you that don't care and are in a relationship, air signs, they're telling me that this is where you are marrying your destiny. What this means is that you have an opportunity that is going to be a full-on commitment to you. And it is from the divine, and it's an intertwining of things is what they're showing me. They're showing me like all these cubes and all these boxes. Have you ever seen one of those science things where it's like all these mirror pieces of, it looks like a tree. Okay, so picture a tree, but instead of the branches, it's got these boxes as mirrors, right? So it has its branches, and then the boxes are on the branches as mirrors is what I'm seeing, right? And they're all these cubes, okay? And they're showing me all these cubes coming together, right? And they're all shining and they're all fitting in the perfect placement, but it's part of a tree system, okay? So what they're saying here to me is that you've got more than one thing that's built in a root system, that's built in a foundation, okay? Jesus Christ win. Isn't that, I love Jesus Christ. So are you healing leprosy yet? Are you doing that, Mary? Are you healing people yet, Mary? Are you healing people, Mary? I just want to ask. Because literally, like, if you were claiming to be that name, then you should be out there healing people with leprosy, and you should be doing the work. I'm just asking. Okay, so long story short, all right, all these things are coming together at the seams. So you have pieces, parts, projects, okay, that are literally in these ways that are coming together in a display. So it's showing me the tree, right, of life, and these pieces and parts that are coming together in something in full-fledged that you're going to marry. This is a commitment. Does it mean more work? Yes, it means more work, but you are literally ready for this, okay? Whatever this big thing is that has these pieces and parts like this, air signs, that are coming to, no, I did not, that are coming together, okay? It's part of a system. And these pieces and parts for you air signs that are not relating into a relationship, you're marrying, okay? Pieces and parts that you are going to be bringing together that are parts of you, right? So every part that you've created in a foundation are parts of you, and they're coming together. This is why you're seeing so much transition, and you're actually seeing kind of like they're showing me that you're seeing an observation of osmosis kind of happening where you see things blending together here, air signs, of things that you've wanted to do or try or cultivate, okay? So all of that is coming together for you. So now I have, of course, the justice, right? The balancing of the two. This is telling me that you are balancing the inner you, the outer you. The inner you, the outer you. The inner earth, the outer earth, right? And you can feel this bursting of this energy coming through, right? You just don't know what to do with it yet. You're getting ready. You're getting ready. You're getting ready to okay, thank you. You're getting ready to initiate the divine's request. It's like you've got these pieces and components, you just don't know what to fully do with it yet, but you know there's this energy brewing inside of you, which we call that the birthing season, right? That's why you're getting the Empress. But the High Priestess, air signs, is showing you that you're unearthing the secrets and you're connecting to the divine, and you're reading scrolls and you're looking at things and you're logically pulling things out, right? And you've been to both sides of things so you can see things on all layers, and then boom, that moves you into the Empress state to build those things. That's what they're talking about here. Okay? So the balancing here of the inner you, the outer you, and the balance of all things is coming together for you. Okay? Okay, I gotta go with it. So for whatever reason, air signs, there's this feeling in my gut that I shouldn't go there, or I shouldn't answer that phone, or I shouldn't talk to that person, or it's just this feeling, right, in my belly. And they're telling me that anything from the past, you cannot take into this vibration any longer. Because when there was this shift in this alignment that occurred, okay, everything is at a 0 point and everything is new. So anything that is in past circumstances or past pretenses or vibrations that you use to solve things or figure things out or whatever that is, all of that has been shifted. So you can call this a quantum shift. Okay, so if some of you have been wondering about that, which means you've actually skipped through 3 or 4 levels. Okay, when you quantum shift, you shift like 3 or 4 things at one time. Okay, and so you shift 3 or 4 timelines or energy shifts, right? So you've done 3 or more and at one time. So they're showing me that this is where you are now fully connected to the divine. If you go into a deepening of understanding of esoterics and ancient fucking Egyptian magic here, yes, the seeing and the pineal gland helps you to see and helps you to connect all things. But there is a synapse in the brain that is in the cerebellum that the Egyptians studied, and Isis had a specific understanding of that. And this is why she also had the throne on the top of her head, which represented untapped consciousness, creativity, and divine wisdom. And this synapse in the brain was a direct connection to the divine. So why we'll deal with psychosis is because people open up the pineal gland, they're not fully healed yet, and then boom, this connection is not formulated yet to the divine. So there's all these alternate timelines, all these alternate things that they're getting messages and receivings about, but yet they're not fully connected to the divine. So this has to come back in and online for both to work in tandem. And now they're showing me air signs that is the shift for you that has been caused over the last week or two with Mercury coming out, Venus coming out, Neptune coming in, and the eclipse and the planetary alignment. So you feel more connected. You feel like you want to ground more. You feel like you want to connect to God more. You feel like you want to meditate more. You feel like you just want to be alone more. There's reasoning for that. Sit with that. When you get pulled to sit with self, sit with self. When you get pulled to do this or do that, do that. It's bringing balance to all things of self is what they're saying here, air signs. All right, here we go. We're moving on to fire. Fire, there's something you desire. Don't go and fall and stumble now. Fire, there's something you desire. Don't go and stumble and fall now. Everything is about to transpire. You're walking a real fine wire. Don't slip. Slow down. So the desire is starting to take over the divine timing here. You're walking a real fine wire is what they're saying to me between the desire, which is part of Venus retrograde energy, okay? She's on her way out on the 12th. And not having yet. Okay, so there's something that you want, something that you desire, fire signs, and not having yet. This is what they mean by don't slip, don't trip. You're walking a real fine wire. You're staying in alignment here. So ground in your desires, because they don't want you being the fool is what they're showing me. Funny. I have the strength card sitting right out here. Like literally, it's just the strength card. It was out here earlier today because I was talking about it to a client earlier, and it was funny. And I just looked over at it, and they're like, the strength card. The strength card to tame the desire. Okay? So I just want you to know that as you desire this, it will transpire. Slow down. Don't take a risk. Okay? You don't have to be risky. The divine is not moving risky. It might move hastily, and quickly, but it's not going to be moving risky. Okay? Is what they're saying to me. Hey, Bumblebee. So, long story short, don't slip because you think this is it. Just remember that desire is formulating the grounding work for you being able to bring this desire in. And they just don't want you to skip a step. Why? Okay, I'm not going to ask why. I'm just going to do and show and here we go. We're going to play show and tell. Alright, here we go. So there's 4 layers. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 layers underneath you. They gave me 1 box here, 1 box here, 1 box here. Okay? So there's an energy coming up and pushing. Okay, thank you. They're giving me the energy behind this. Energy is pushing up. These 3 boxes are then going to connect into 1 box. Thank you. The art right now is trust, is what they're telling me, fire signs. These are all going to connect in. And what this is this is a physical. Hold on, I'm getting there. This is a physical, mental, and emotional thing that's coming. So the representation of each box, 1 is physical, the physical thing. 1 is mental, because you've been planning or seeing or developing, right? And the next place is emotional, because the emotion is part of the imagination, and the imagination is our soul here. So in Western culture and medicine, we call that our imagination. In the Eastern culture understanding, we know that to be our soul. So the emotion, okay, behind the desires, behind why and how is the most important thing right now, is what they're telling me. It's the why and the how, okay? The why and the how is the most important thing right now. They're connecting the emotions back to the mental, which means the emotions are feeding part of the mental picture. Okay? Then this all formulates here, almost like backwards, to become the physical representation of these things as a whole, all coming together. Okay? I had to draw all that out. So it's this shifting and this merging that they're giving me of these 3 things coming together and online. Okay? I told you all of the readings are going to be the same, but different because of the energy and all the new and all the shifting and all the birthing and all the desiring and all the manifesting and all those things that you're bringing in. The energies are available now for you to bring these things in. There was so much density and so many things were blocked because you couldn't do this or you couldn't do that. Part of the divine's gifts. Remember when the divine said that the heavens would open up and blessings and miracles would happen and all these things? Well, they're happening. They're happening way more. And we're not talking about financial things. If y'all can't see the blessings and everything, then you need to go back and look a little bit more. But this is where you're seeing things that were harder are easier. Doors are just opening. There's a free flow of energy. And this is where you are cultivating whatever this is that you had the idea or the desire or the wanting to do. It's actually now easily brought in. It's more formulated, it's more concrete, and it's easily now more brought into you because the energies are open for you to have the awareness to receive of what steps to take. We didn't have the clarity 3, 4, 5 weeks, 6 weeks ago because of all the shifts that were going on. Now you have more clarity as to what's going on and how to formulate these boxes. So as you construct these things in an emotional, mental way, the physical vibration of those things coming in, you meeting the right people, having the right conversations, going to the right places, putting this up, doing that, making that video, whatever that is in that flow of doing, it's formulating those doors to open to physically bring it more in now. Okay? So this is where the physical, mental, and emotional is doing that. But they're saying, don't get over Zedulus as Venus runs its way out of here, right? The Venus in retrograde is about materials, is about material wealth too. And yes, it's beauty and it's cultivation and it's divine feminine energy and it's Queen of Cups and you love it, right? But at the same time, it's the obsession sometimes that blocks you from the very thing that you want to cultivate in. The obsessing over it, the desire. Whereas you're not putting time with yourself to allow those things to naturally transpire. Some of you are trying too hard, okay? And that's what they're saying here is that some of you are trying too hard. That's why they said don't slip, slow down. You're in alignment. You're walking a tight grip right now. You're like literally walking the tightrope right now. So the art of trusting. You want me to talk about trusting, right? So in places and spaces I come from, sometimes we call that turning it over. All right? Giving it away, whatever that is. And if you ask for certain types of confirmations while you're going through that trust fall, you're going to be able to cultivate that vibration and be able to get those confirmations and synchronicities. Trust turns into a belief, which turns into the knowing. The knowing then is the ultimate receiving because you're in the divine flow. And nothing is good, nothing is bad, everything just is, okay? Because you have the knowing. This is also the art and the construction of what you're trying to get to, and it's not, oh, I know. It is coming from a place of that deliverance of that grace, from the trusting to the faith, to the believing, to the knowing. And that's what they're also giving me this representation fire. Some of you are now in the knowing. Some of you are moving into the believing because now you can really feel it, right? And that seeing it, being able to have the awareness and the Christ consciousness with the pineal gland opening up and the connection to the divine creator, you are now in a place of being able to receive all that. Because you can see all that, because you have the awareness of all that now. Where emotional intelligence you didn't have because all those emotions were bogging you down. So now you get to have the release of the freedom of peace and not having those emotions bog you down to be able to hear and see in a different way. Okay? That's the connection to divine too. So I don't know if somebody feels here, fire signs, that they're not on time. Thank you so much, Bumblebee. Somebody feels like they're not on time or they're not going to make it or da-da-da-da-da. Everything's fine. I don't know who needed to hear that, but somebody is like worried that they're not going to make a jump. They're not going to see the opportunity. They're not going to da-da-da-da-da. You're going to. You want to know why? Because you can't not. Because you're too aware. You're too loved. You're too trusted. You're just in the place of where it just can't happen. Okay? It just can't happen anymore. All right? So don't worry. Don't doubt. Don't fret. You're going to make it. All right? I don't know who needed to hear that, but somebody's like, I don't know if I'm going to make it. I don't know this. I don't know that. You are. You are. All right? All right, here we go. Water. Water. This is cool. They just showed me. They just showed me this lotus. All right. They just showed me this lotus flower, and see, you like my beautiful lotus flower? Isn't that cute? They showed me this beautiful lotus flower opening up right now, water signs. No, I'm really a damn good artist. I just like to make you guys think I'm not. So here we go. Now, what's cool about this right now, water, is that they're showing me, thank you. Yeah, I'm open. All right, so now what they're showing me here is that you've got this fire coming out of this lotus. Okay, you've got this fire coming out of this lotus. Yeah, I'll show you some of my drawings later. So long story short is that you've got this fire now coming out of this lotus flower. Thank you so much. And now, of course, you can take this in hindsight. Something's opening up for you, right? Of course, something's opening up for you. But this is something that's full force. Now, what they're giving me, the energy behind now is that you're open to receive something. So there is an intuitive, thank you so much. There is an intuitive, did you really? That's awesome, mama. So there's a notion, right? There's a notion or a going or it's not a knowing yet. It's an intuitive flash of insight. Now, the intuitive flash of insight, water signs, so like this fire is building up in you, right? Okay, they're showing me this fire, this energy of fire, this energy of go, this energy of do, this energy of, creating and doing all that construction, which is part of, when we talk about fire energy, we're talking about wands, right? And wands is stability and all of these things, career and home life, okay? It's your foundation, right? And this fire in your belly. Now, this lotus flower fire is where you're desiring for more, right? So in this fire in the belly, you're desiring for more. You don't know what that more is yet because you haven't gotten hit with the intuitive insight. Wait till this full moon in Libra comes through, all right? Wait till this Libra moon comes through. And I think it comes through on the 14th here. It's like really close after Venus going direct from retrograde. So they're showing me that this insight is literally going to happen overnight. Okay? You're going to get a flash of insight that is going to make sense with this belly energy that's building up inside of you. They gave me this clam, right? So they gave me this clam. Of course they would, water signs, right? They totally would give me a clam for you guys. Okay. Now, I haven't ever seen a clam in spiritual pretenses, right? Like the understanding of what a clam shell represents. Now, I know other shells, right? And other shells represent protection and good luck. But they gave me this clamshell, which is pretty cool. All right. So they gave me this clamshell. And there's this small opening in this clamshell on this side where that indentation is, right? And it's starting to, whatever this is, it's starting to come out of the clamshell, but the clamshell hasn't fully opened up yet, okay? It's almost like you're waiting for an opportunity, you're waiting for something to come through, right? So that it's like you can just close it shut, right? Like you're just waiting. You know the right timing is going to present itself, right? The right timing is going to present itself. But the flash of insight is what you're missing. You feel this belly, you know that it's about divine timing, but you don't have the blueprint yet. You don't have the blueprint yet of what you're moving on to next, okay? You need that last piece, the last puzzle piece, the piece that has the directions on it. Or sometimes we call them the destructions. Sometimes instructions destruct things, but these are the instructions, all right, is what they're showing me. All right, so here's the deal. They just said mom to me. So the way that this comes through is that the divine feminine energy, whether male or female, okay, which means you're in that water energy, you're in creation, you're in emotion, you're in intuition. But a lot of you have broken free of mom patterns, mom cycles, mom behaviors that were taken upon you, and you have had to take accountability, because what that means is, although those patterns and behaviors were shown to you, you didn't have to choose to take them on. You took them on, and now those have been removed. So the pattern there has been removed, so which has led you to a new emotional layer to be able to feel and receive and perceive the divine in you and outside of you. Now, others of you have a connection to your mother spiritually speaking, meaning you feel her presence even after her passing, all of that type of stuff. There's a spiritual connection here where a lot of you are being led, okay, by that mother divine feminine energy. So you see a lot of feminine energy coming forward. And so this is the connection, water signs, that they're bringing through with mom. Some of you are rebuilding, relationships with your mother too. Others of you, you've cut those losses, and it's cool too, because you needed to, right? You're into the art now of taking care of you. That's part of the divine feminine energy. So they're just showing me these different splits for water signs right now, okay? So now you've split off from that energy, okay? Whatever that is allowing you to connect more with what your assignment is, water signs. Water signs, you are on divine assignment right now. Obey. Water signs, you are on divine assignment right now. Obey and listen. Sometimes you have to sit in the vibration of nothingness, which means no sound, no nothing, okay? To bring yourself back to self, to ground, is what they're saying to me right now. A lot of you guys go right to water, but water isn't working some reason, somehow, okay? So go to no sound and feeling thyself and breath, okay? For whatever reason, most of you go to water, but right now they're asking you to ground more, which means physically do this without water, which means being present in the moment with breath. No car sounds, no sounds whatsoever. Take some earplugs and put them in here and breathe with your breath, okay? They want you to feel that connection to yourself again in that way. Some of you are in hesitation. Hesitation. All right. Hesitation about a situation or relationship or a job or whatever. Okay? The divine gives you messages that are clear and concise with no apprehension, no confusion. The issue is that sometimes you bypass them and you deceive your own mind. Okay? This is why they're having you go to your emotion, is what they're saying here to me, water signs. So sometimes you bypass the opening because you are not in devotion of yourself, so you deceive yourself. And this is why they want you to get back to feeling thyself in a different way. Because a lot of you are up here in your head all day. All right? Now, they're also telling me that some of you are waiting for something to transpire, but then at the same time, the other art of this, because I'm sorry, but when you put Scorpio in water, you're going to get some fiery energy here, man. It doesn't make sense to me. They fucked up too many parts of our calendar, okay? But this is where this is coming in with a little bit of fire here behind it, to be honest with you, water signs, where some of you are waiting to pursue something, waiting to grasp a hold of something, and they're like, don't wait. Don't wait. Like, you have hesitation in your vibration, but there's something about you taking action on something and not waiting, because there's fire here. There's a little bit of fire, which is giving me the action energy. And this is why you're kind of feeling torn, is because you're like, wait a minute, I'm waiting for this, but then also I don't feel like I should take the lead because I'm open to receive and I'm waiting for the divine to give me the sign, but yet the divine is giving you the sign. It's coming from an internal vibration, because the divine doesn't go, whoa, 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 go do that. It's trying to do it from here, and you're not listening to that. And that is very clear, is what that connection, that feeling, that vibration is very clear. So that's why they want you to do that. Okay, so some of you are waiting, but yet some of you shouldn't be waiting. Some of you should literally just be pulling the trigger, and doing it and starting it, because they're literally also, for some of you that are waiting and have been waiting, that start, right? That it's like they're putting me on a track, right? And I'm getting ready to run a race, and that firing of the firearm there is literally the start of the race. So water signs, a lot of you are going to be boom, hitting the ground running, as they per se, right? So this is, you're just waiting. See, it's like you can call it divine timing. Whatever this is, in the next week, mark my words, in the next week, things are going to peak for you between now and Sunday. Within this week to the beginning of next week, things are going to peak for you. And this is where you're going to then, boom, be on your way. This is why you're getting a lot of fire energy, the Eight of Wands energy here too. It's like, okay, thank you. They're giving me the context here, of course, because Saturn is rubber banding here. Saturn, of course, had its fun last year in retrograde. Now it's direct, right? But it's in the 11th house, moving into the 12th house. And when it moves from the 11th to the 12th house, this is like the shift that they're giving me. So it does have to do, it does have to do with this week. And it does have to do where things are going to peak for you. Some of you are waiting for this, and you're going to do, and they're saying, don't hesitate on this next move. Okay? Remember, they also said, water signs, that this lotus flower is opening up to receive. You've got this fire energy in your belly here. You're waiting like this clamshell. Okay? You remove some issues or some limitations or some vibrations. Okay, maybe there was a feeling of responsibility here, like you felt like you were responsible for your mom. I don't know. Whatever that is, it's the release of that limitation and responsibility. All right, and then this is firing in here. There's something about you having to release one of these types of limitations with this mother aspect in order for this to happen. Call it generational, call it, I don't know, whatever wording you want to put on it. They all mean the same to me, okay? All I know is that it cultivated itself in different vibrations in different situations. Meaning some of you are repairing the relationship with your mother. Some of you are seeing where you have removed certain types of things. It's definitely, shitty that, of course, you went through those things, but it's definitely your accountability to work through those things so you break those patterns, and that's what they're showing me that you've done. And then at the same time, it's not only that, but then we have mom on the spiritual side, right? And this working together of raising each other up in vibration, and the mother divine feminine energy coming forward here. All right. Pay attention to nature. Nature is talking. Nature is telling you everything. And we are no separate from. So it makes sense as to why they're calling most all signs back to nature and back to the divine, right? In this timeline. So this is it. It's almost like the way that they're showing me this. Now this is for all signs, not just water. Break this down. The way that they're showing me this. Okay. If you got a whole bunch of us, right? And it makes sense to me on a quantum level. So if you got a whole bunch of us, all right, that, and it doesn't have to be at one moment in time, but are grounding in to Gaia, right? Think about it like this on a quantum level. The physical representation, right, of the vibration. Gaia's where she needs to be at. She's great. She's fucking loving life right now, all right? She's percolating. She's doing her thing. She's vibrating. She's changing things, right? We've got a whole bunch of things going on in nature, right? She's vibrating. She's changing things. We got a whole bunch of us at certain different points in times where we're grounding into nature. That to me shows me one thing on a bigger worldly scale. What that shows me too is that you're grounding your intentions in, you're grounding these manifestations in, you are grounding these things in, okay, to Gaia, which means on a quantum level, you are literally those desires, those emotions. Remember, we had it here with water. Boom. We had it here with fire. Then we also had it here with air. And then we had it here with earth. You are grounding those manifestations, those emotions, those desires. And this is why it's been so important to watch your vibration, watch your wording. Because now this is time for the cultivation, the physical. So you're starting to see physical puzzle pieces coming together of things that you wanted to do, be, receive, or not have to deal with anymore. Then what that's doing is you're grounding this energy down in, okay, for those things to physically actually happen. Makes sense to me on a scale as to why they're doing this. Now, you want to go deeper with this, we can go to a deeper consciousness with this, and the understanding that when we sit in a vibration, where two come together, right? All right? Where two come together. So where two become the one become the sum, which means when two or more people sit and they have the same vibration and they have the same intent, okay? They may not be seeing it the same exact way, but they're feeling it the same exact way, right? Then that is the vibration that's going to transpire. Maybe those two people are going to connect. This is how the threads and the cords work. So if you come together on a collective scale right now and ground in and ground down these desires, it would only make sense that you're doing cord pulling and you're pulling these people or these shifts, okay, closer to your physical representation for you to be able to achieve, receive, and do the things that the divine destiny is leading you to do, be, or change, or pursue. So in a lower dimensional vibration, you're grounding down into Gaia because of the fact is that you're grounding and centering these desires, these intentions, and these emotions in. When a whole bunch of people do it, these are the threads. That's the frequency that you're moving into. Then, on a deeper layer, on an overall collective consciousness layer, when more vibrations get together and they feel and they desire the same thing, the whole entire planet will shift and the frequency will shift. This is why I tell everybody, you are doing it every day. You don't even realize by the ripple effects of the decisions that you're making to sit in that moment or ground those in or meditate and bring those intentions in. You have no idea the ripple effect that you are actually causing on a bigger scale. But now you do. Boom. Because it's not about you. It looks like it's about you. But the way that the divine is using you to manifest what is happening is on a whole nother level of consciousness. And this is why you're being asked to do these things, is because you think you're the only one in 8 million people that are being asked to do these things. That's a little pretentious of you. Little pretentious. Might want to go back. Okay? It's happening on a worldly scale, on a collective level. And it looks like it's happening like a snail, at a snail's pace. But I promise you, when you look at things in vibration of frequency and understanding of time, okay, you see how everything is corresponding and happening on a 3D perspective, an internal perspective, a 3D perspective, and an overall consciousness perspective. Okay? So some of the things that you're being asked to do may seem outlandish and wild to you, but at the same time, you're not going to be the only one receiving it. And if you ground those desires in and you sit and you allow those intentions, because those pathways, those meridians, those doorways have opened up. Not again. This is a whole new type of energy that you've shifted into. You sit down and you ground that energy in. You're going to have an effect on a collective scale. This is why we always say that whatever you perceive is what you're going to believe, which is what you're going to receive. So make sure that you are taking care of your mind and you are coming back online and constructing it with the divine, and everything that you do in accordance to the scriptures which were written inside of you. Okay. I just had to make sure that we were, I wasn't needed to say anything else. All right. I just needed to make sure there wasn't anything else that was about to be said there. Okay. But that's literally what's happening on a level here, where you can see where people are going through these things and they're not having the understandings of they are doing. All right, I've got a little bit of time here. If anybody would like to dive in and have an energy reading and healing with me, all right, or just kind of dive in and balance these things out with whatever it is you're trying to bring in, or if you have questions here, you're more than welcome to hit that link in the bio. All right. Beautiful. Okay, so here's what you have moved through in the last week. All right, here's what you've moved through in the last week here, D. So the way that you have constructualized things to be are not the way they are anymore in your reality. The way that you are cultivating your connection to the divine is where you've been able to release the ideology, release the resentment, release the issues that you've had with the constructs of the limits of the vibrations of religion. And so you've now unlimited, unchained yourself, unbound yourself to be able to connect to and see through and connect to these vibrations in the way that it was meant for you to connect to, so that you were connected to the divine feminine, because they literally had me write DF. So your divine feminine is leading the way now, okay? There's like no masculine card. You gave up your man card. There's no man card for you anymore. Now they said deliverance at your door. So there is a deliverance at your door, right? So you're being delivered for more. So I feel like you're literally, these things had to be delivered off of you in order for you to see, to understand the different layers in not only your realities, but other realities too. Now, you're oozing the Empress energy here, and there's something with the letter G. So you're the charisma, okay, is the best way to say it, is oozing out of you at this point in time. So a lot of energies are going to be attracted to you, okay, and your higher state of mind. Something is now completely coming back online. So now you are completely connected to the divine. So not just the pineal gland being opened. This is part of the Y-axis that they're giving me. With the divine feminine too. So it's the divine feminine that's leading the way now and that's cultivating through. So literally it was the Y-axis that they were giving me here that's coming through. So you were completely connected back to the pollinator. And that's very different than being connected in the pineal gland here. Okay? It's a deeper type of reflection is what they said. A deeper type of reflection. There were places or spaces that you were rejected in. And what I mean by that is that you tried to have doors open or doorways tried to open for you, but you were rejected. Of course, you know that that's God's protection, but that doesn't mean it doesn't sting and it doesn't burn. Okay? They want me to tell you that you've earned it and you've dealt with your ego precisely. Okay? And with this being said, you are in a place now where this can come through. So you had to deal with another piece of your ego with 3 doors that didn't open for you. Now what they're saying here is that there's one big door that is going to open for you because you were able to work through what you were there to do. You were actually there to learn what not to do, and you were there to cultivate what it was that you were to build and you were to do. But it wasn't supposed to be used in that way. And that's why the divine shut the door on each one of those things. So it was because you knew there was more. It's like your soul already knew that there was more than those 3 doors that you were trying to go through. Now this bigger door is here for you, okay? So I want you to know that this bigger door is here for you, where you are now going to be able to move through this bigger shift. The dates of the 15th through the 20th are just big for you personally, okay? Being a cardinal sign, fixed sign, okay? And just being, it's your timeline is what was just said. The 15th through the 20th, it's your timeline, all right? Okay, so interestingly enough, the cold that you've had was, of course, draining out toxins to help you open up to a higher state. But this also was like covering something. And it was covering something at the exact moment so that I wouldn't dig for what was next. Because if you dug for what was next, this door wouldn't have been able to open next, is what was just said. All right, Miss Kirby. Okay, I've got you there. All right. So the spiritual attack that I'm feeling here that you're suffering from is the mammoth of lack. Okay? So what I mean by this, Miss Kirby, is where the lack is taking over the mind. Now, this comes through as anxiety, this comes through as worry, this comes through as self-doubt. Okay? Because it's getting you to lack yourself in some sort of way. Right? It could even be the spirit of lethargy, right? And so this is where the attack is coming from, because it's coming from a subconscious programming of lack. All right. So this is where that energy is attacking, okay, that in which is needing to be healed and opened up again and to be peeled away. All right. You do not lack anything, but yet this mindset is tricking you into feeling just that or thinking just that, which is trying to cultivate this belief down in you for you not to be able to receive, for you to be in reprieve. They show me that you were in hangman mode or you were in hermit mode is what they're showing me, okay? Or you're going from hangman mode to hermit mode, which is actually cool to me because the hangman is literally gaining the intelligence, gaining the wisdom, surrendering to the process, okay? But yet the hermit has learned that from the mountain and has the knowledge and wisdom, and he's coming back down off the mountain, and his lantern, and in his lantern is the star. So of course you're becoming the star. But this is the last, okay, thank you. They said that this is the last part of the defragging of the mindset of the programming that you've been going through. Now, to work with shifting this mindset, there's a multitude of things that you can do. But they're asking me to tell you, for you personally, that there is something about when you sit with a candle and you stare at the candle flame when you are in doubt and you ask for this energy to be removed. It is where it is a quiet space for you. It is where it is a quiet space for them. It's where you're going through another level of reprogramming again. So yes, the outside energy is influencing that, in which is already open and trying to be sewn up again. Just in the pretenses here, as I can give another description, as if somebody was going through an addiction, right? The addiction is but a symptom of the cause. So the psychic attack is but a symptom of the cause of the problem. So now you had been put in this pause to fix this problem. Makes sense to me with Venus on its way out here today. This is coming from the solar plexus. This is coming from the heart space. And this is coming from the mind. Okay? And so no, it's not about you grounding in, because you've grounded those emotions and those energies in. It's about clearing the energy of deliverance and having to go back in the mind, okay, and reprogram it continuously, and telling yourself no, telling yourself shut up, telling yourself that's not it, and moving into a higher state of frequency. This is where you take the tools in your tool belt that you know. Now, you may try 15 to 10 of them, okay, at any point in time, but one of them's going to work. And they're telling me that you're trying to reach for a higher state of mind. The one that's going to work for you is to sit with the candle and meditate through this process and ask for this energy to be removed. Now, I'm going to start that vibration as I've already been working on you here. The density is going to clear. When you feel a lot of density in your crown, it's because the Reiki chakra, the life force energy, the chi, the divine energy is being blocked somehow, and there's a heavy density here, okay? And that is something that we are going to clear, and it's already starting to clear because I can see it fizzling out here, all right? But at the same time, this is the level of doubt of mind that is working at you at this moment. Sometimes it's like, hear me out, sometimes when you don't feel good or when you're in that state of lack, right? You can do anything to try to move this out of your vibration. Music in the house, smoke and herbs. And something that I try to teach people that is very important in the mentorship space is that when you work with smoke, you have to remember the ancient understandings of why we invoke the smoke. The reason that we invoke the smoke is not to clear out energies. It is because that smoke carries the energy, the prayers, to the higher state of the divine in the consciousness. It's also even deeper than that in relevance. They would have you ever see shamans work? Shamans blow smoke and certain types of smoke up people's noses to cleanse the spirit. But when you do that, it's not just cleansing the spirit. It's cleansing the body, it's cleansing the auric field, and it's connecting you to the energies of the divine. The offerings, right? Because when they gave offerings, you always hear they gave offerings of myrrh and sandalwood and frankincense and all of this, right? The reason being is because those scents of those things cultivated certain things in the vibration and in the energy around the home. And when you work with Palo, it's not because you're always trying to cleanse and clear out energy. You're opening yourself up to the vibration. You inhale the smoke. It takes it to the seat of Aries, okay, which is the crown, all right, which is part of the horseshoe. So it takes it to the seat of the Aries, which is the first house. The first house is the connection to the divine. So that's why they would come with offerings. Kirby, for whatever reason, you've got the energy of Moses around you this time. which tells me that not only are you a prophet, right? And you hold a great power within your flower, but you're not giving it the quality of the respect that it deserves to cultivate these gifts through. And you're wanting to do this, you just can't figure out how to. Connect with me, Kirby, all right? We'll get you started in whatever process we need to help you with that, all right? But literally, this is where the energy, it's like you're not stepping into that deepening layer. You want to, you just don't know how to. And so you're going up, okay? And when these energies are coming through you, they're showing me where you're working with scents, you're working with herbs. This is a part of Mary Magdalene and the Divine Sophia and Isis. It's all of it coming back online. The 7 sacred oils, okay? You're moving up in frequency, so it makes sense to me as to why you would suffer from a psychic attack, quote unquote, spiritual lack is what they're saying to me, which is cultivating the lack vibration of the worth within your body. Okay? You're very welcome. So, the understandings and the teachings of what was is not what is to be. And I want you to understand and know this is one of the reasons that Mary of Bethany became Mary Magdalene, which means Mary the Magnificent. Okay? And Mary the Magnificent, all right, understood the oils and the body system and the herbs and the smellings of this. This is why the Native Americans would always send prayers up in smoke. The smoke would take the prayers to the Great Spirit. The smoke lifts you up. This is why in ceremony they burn certain smokes and they do certain things, is because it opens up doorways. This is why we tell people don't ever cleanse with sage. Because 9 times out of 10, you're opening up more doorways than you are closing them. And so therefore, when you are sitting in these things, you don't have the understanding of how these ancient things were used. And people are frivolously using them. Okay? And this is the deepening, Kirby, that you're moving to. You're cultivating this. Mary the Magnificent understood what spikenard oil did, along with certain vibrations and healing mechanisms, to literally allow that chakra system to completely open up and for Yahshua to ascend to the heavens. Okay? And so this is why you are deepening the layer of the understanding, Kirby. And this is why this psychic attack is occurring. Okay? It's occurring 9 times out of 10. You got to remember, God giveth and God taketh away. So you don't think that God's going to allow some attack to come through to sew up those pathways so that you cannot be attacked again, so those traumas are healed and sealed, so that this can't happen and that can't happen to you. It's the real deal. This is why we say you cannot rush your healing, but only master it. Because it will always be revealing to you of what you have not healed. And so these energies come to play with you because it's showing you what you haven't healed in the mind, or what you haven't healed in the body, or what you have not healed, so that you can peel away those layers and come into true divine consistency and alignment, and not have to go through these shifts. Okay? So this is just another shift for you to defeat the deceit of the betrayal within your own mind. Okay? You will prevail, Kirby. Alright? Take a candle, sit with self, ask for these energies to be removed, consistently turn it over. It's a programming. And it's like the rubber band snap of anything, right? You have a negative thought, you snap the rubber band. The dog won't stop growling at another dog. The dog won't stop barking at another dog. You just sit here and you go, tsk, and you stick your fingers in the hind legs of the dog, and the dog's going to go, bloop. It snaps out of it. You might have to do that 10 to 15 times a day for you to retrain your brain. But now you're being asked to physically do these things and physically vibrate at a higher level. Okay? Oh, I appreciate you too, Kirby. All right? It's beautiful. So if you need any help with that, let me know. Okay? All right. I love you all, beautiful people. Thank you for being here with me today. Thank you for having me here today. Thank you for allowing me to be the vesicle for you, as always, the vehicle and the vessel. All right. I love you all. If you guys need anything, please reach out to me. I've got all new programs, all certified intuitive mentorship programs, all certified psychic abilities and studies program, also certified Egyptian healing master Reiki, where you then can learn the Egyptian Reiki on a completely different level to master these things, to heal others, and to teach your own groups and do these things. I'm telling you, you're going to want to get in where this cost is. Not that I am raising it, but because they don't teach to the level that I teach of the understandings of these things. They go charge you $1,500, and they don't even teach you the half of the deepening of the belief system. I have a few people in here right now that are taking my Egyptian course, and some of them are novice people, and it has opened them up to a whole different understanding and feeling of things. So if you're somebody who's cultivating their own business and doing these things, I urge you to come look at these things. So these are certified courses. These are not this or that. These are real, these are true, and these are for you to start and cultivate things that you want to do in your life. I will be having more workshops as we work through these things as well. So if you're not a part of the mailing list, you can become a part of it there as well for free. You can become a member for free. You can also watch videos and downloads of the lives on YouTube. And Thursday night, tomorrow night, we're going to start that podcast, Liquid Sunshine for Your Soul. We'll see you there too. Have a beautiful, blessed day, everybody. Till we meet again. Mwah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Michelle. Thank you to each and every one of you. Thank you, Mama Briggs. I love you. You were on my mind this morning. I was like, I got to call that lady. I love you. Hey, body and soul. What's up with you, man? Where you been, lady? I hope your trip was well. I will talk to you soon. Thank you, Patricia. Take care of yourselves. All right.